Assalamu alaikum. I am Jalwa Afzal, class number 12. Today my presentation topic is morphology. The meaning of morphology. The word morphology is derived from Greek word morph means form and logos mean word. This term morphology term is also used in another context, for example in biology. But here in linguistic, morphology is the study of how words are formed out of smaller units. It focuses on the structure of words dealing with inflections, endings. The word morphology was, as a sub-discipline of linguistics, was first named in 1859 by the German linguist August Schleicher, who used the term for study of the form of others words. So, introduction of morphology. Morphology is the part of our grammatical knowledge of a language, and it is generally unconscious knowledge. Morphology deals with the internal structure of words. In other words, morphology is the study of morphemes and the way they are joined together to make words. Morphology is the study of internal structure of words and the rules governing the formation of words in a language. So often unconsciously, every speaker knows the rules underlying the creation of words in their language. So morphological knowledge is part of our grammatical knowledge that allows us to understand the structure of words and word formation processes. So, definition of morphology. Morphology is the study of how words are formed out of smaller units. It focuses on the structure of words dealing with inflectional endings. Morphology can also be defined as the science and study of the smallest grammatical units of language and their formation into words, including inflection, derivation, and composition. And morphology was defined by Dorfman as morphology is the study of the ways and methods of grouping sounds into sound complexes or words of definite, distinct, conventional meaning. Moreover, Bloomfield calls morphology as the study of the constructions in which bound forms appear among the constituents. It is defined by many people different. Now the awareness of morphology. So anything that a language does with morphology is it usually can also do more straightforwardly with syntax, and there's also always some other language that does the same thing with syntax. For example, in most cases in English, we add s to indicate plurality. For example, dogs, so plural of dog is dogs. But we can also use syntax to construct a phrase that has the same meaning. That more than one dog. We can use more than one dog instead of dogs. Another feature of morphology is its combinatoric irregularity. For example, the suffix ify can be used to form a verb from a noun or adjective that has the meaning make. So any word where make any word. So here where any word is the noun or adjective, the suffix gets added to. For example, icon, we then if we add ify with it, so it will become that iconify. Similarly, simple, so simplify, it will be made. But there are lots of nouns and adjectives that either do not accept the ify suffix at all, or that attach a suffix to only part of their base form. For example, vapor, so we can't add ify with it. That vaporify, we can use ize, so vaporize. Like many others, English dictionaries contain hundreds of thousands of words, but it is fairly true to say that most speakers do not know all of these words. So, knowledge of a word is connected with different types of information encoded in our mental dictionary. For pedagogical purposes, we can list the kinds of information we have mastered about a word as follows. These are the words and their structures: pronunciation and meaning, grammatical category, orthography, or spelling. So, first of all, pronunciation and meaning. So, we have learned a sound or pronunciation and a meaning for every word we know. Every word consists of a sound meaning unit. So, every word in our lexicon is stored together with a pronunciation and a meaning, maybe several meanings. There are also an arbitrary relationship between sounds and meanings. Consequently, we may encounter words that have the same pronunciation and different meanings, and words that have the same meaning and different sounds. We can conclude that we have learned a meaning or several meanings for almost every word we know. So now the second one is grammatical category. So we also store other information about a word, such as whether it is a verb, a noun, an adjective, an adverb, a conjunction, or a preposition. This kind of information identifies the grammatical class of the word. For example, in the sentence, she likes Jessica, and Jessica um, is liked by her, or something like this. The word like is both a verb and a noun according to our knowledge of its grammatical or syntactic class. Unless we had such kind of information in our mental dictionary, we could not know how to produce grammatically correct sentences. We could not distinguish grammatical sentences from ungrammatical ones either. We intuitively know how to use words in different types of sentences thanks to this kind of information. And the third one is orthography or spelling. So every literate speaker of a language also stores information about how to spell the words they know. However, not every speaker knows or has to know the etymology of a word he or she knows. In daily life, we may sometimes talk about the origin and history of words such as coffee or yogurt, but this kind of historical information encoded in our mental lexicon is not truly representative of our knowledge of words. To sum up, knowledge of a word contains various kinds of information we encode in our mental lexicon. Not only do we know the meaning or several meanings of a word and its pronunciation when we say we know a word, but we also recognize its grammatical categories such as noun or verb as well as its spelling or orthography as educated people. When we look up a word, any typical English dictionary should give at least lexical entry information that contains spelling, the standard pronunciations, definitions to represent one or more meanings of the word, and also parts of speech. So now what is the purpose of morphology? So the aim of morphology is to publish a high quality articles that contribute to the further articulation of morphological theory and linguistic theory in general or present new explored data. Importance of morphology. Morphology is very important for in a language. Morphological awareness influences the other linguistic awareness. Phonological awareness. Morphological awareness helps the student to comprehend read text easily. Due to morphology, anyone can read text easily. So now conclusion. From the whole discussion, I can conclude that morphology is the study of the internal structure of words and the rules governing the formation of words in a language. Often unconsciously, even every speaker knows the rules underlying the creation of words in their language. This morphological knowledge is part of our grammatical knowledge that allows us to understand the structure of words and word formation processes. Developing morphological awareness enables language teachers to help their learners recognize how words enter a language, what they consist of and how they are formed by combining prefixes, suffixes, and roots. In fact, there is empirical evidence that learners with an awareness of word formation processes tend to have larger vocabulary and better reading comprehension as well better writing in turn. So we store words in our mental lexicon with several kinds of information. When we say we know a word, we not only know the meaning or several meanings of word and its pronunciation, but we also distinguish its grammatical category such as noun or verb as well as its spelling or orthography as educated people. When we look up a word in an average English dictionary, we can see at least lexical information that contains spelling, standard pronunciation, definitions to represent one or more meaning of the word, and also parts of speech that either the word is a verb, noun, adjective, adverb, or and so on. So it was all about my topic of presentation, and that was morphology.